Today I'm going to be doing an expose on tradwives, which is not something I ever thought that I would be saying, but here we are. Are you going to help me with this? Yes. Yes, you are. I wanted to do a bit of a deep dive into this whole tradwife, homemaker, homesteader, stay-at-home mom, the whole spectrum, because I feel like a few weeks ago I didn't even know the difference between them, and now I feel like I'm somewhat of a quasi-expert. And it's so funny to me because this all started because I posted a reel on a whim on Instagram, and it was just me talking about how I identify as a homemaker, but I'm not Christian, and I don't wear flowy flowery dresses, and I don't wear aprons, and I don't serve my husband. I just stay at home with my kids and try to make my home a cozy, comfortable place. It struck a nerve on the internet. I gained like over 5,000 followers, which for me is a very big deal. Let's be real. It's almost at 1 million views now, and then I also posted a second one just kind of piggybacking off of that, and it has gotten so many, like hundreds and hundreds of comments on both of them, with women that were saying that they identify the same way and they relate to it so much. And like, I didn't even know the term tradwife before this. Somebody commented it at first and it said like, oh, that's because you're not a tradwife, and I thought they just did a typo. I thought they were trying to say like tradwife. I didn't even know what it meant, and I was just like, haha. But then a whole bunch of other people started saying it, and so then that's when I actually learned that tradwife is a thing. It has its own name, and it is taking over Instagram. So first I wanted to talk about the different categories of moms in these. I don't know. So you have the stay-at-home mom, right? Like that's me. That's a lot of women out there. It's just a normal mom that stays at home and doesn't work or work, whatever. There are so many different variables to all of these different categories. But so you have the classic stay-at-home mom, and then you have homemaker, which I feel like is more in line with what I do. Like, I stay at home, but I also like put a lot of time and effort into our home and our kids and all these different things. You also have a homesteader, which is like something pretty different. Like, I wouldn't call myself a homesteader at all. We don't own a home. We don't own any land. We don't have any kind of chickens, or we don't even have a garden because we don't have a yard. Like, I don't have access to that, so I can't claim it. I would love to. That's not me. And then you have the next category, which is the tradwife. It's been a hot topic on social media right now because people are kind of just waking up to this idea of the tradwife, and it's just been very divisive because half of the people will defend the tradwives and be like, they're just living their best life, and why are we criticizing them, and all these different things. And then you have the other extreme of people that are like, well, because they're not living a realistic life, they are not portraying their life at all, and then they're trying to sell you this idea that is involved with their fakeness. And so, I mean, there is something systemically wrong with that idea. They are causing a pain point that isn't real, and then trying to sell you things to fix it. And they're so, yeah. So, a tradwife. These are some of the definitions that I pulled from other people's ideas, but it's like they're playing a role. Red flag right there. They're submissive. They're traditional gender roles. They're always rail thin. If you think about it, there's not a single tradwife that I've ever seen that isn't like super thin. There's never been an overweight tradwife. They just have this extra step of curating effortless perfection, and it's all about performance. And if you think about it, it's like you have never seen a tradwife in real life. It's because they're not real. This is their media portrayal. It is not possible to be a tradwife because they are making it seem like, oh, I'm just gonna go out and milk the cow. It's like the real people that are actually going out at 5 in the morning in the snowstorm and spraying off the from their cow's udders to milk them. They're not setting up a tripod and a camera. They're not waiting for the perfect lighting to get the perfect shot. Like, it's not real. What they're portraying is Little House on the Prairie style thing. They're hearkening back to this older era and then glorifying it and trying to make it seem like something that it isn't. See, I'm not good at this. I'm not good at... Another thing to look at here is that tradwives are a brand. Like, everything that they post is to do with them trying to sell something. They're trying to create their image, and that is literally their whole purpose. They're not here to be real. They're not here to be relatable. They're trying to hold up this ideal so that you feel less than, so then you purchase what they're selling so that you can even get close to what they are. So at this point, they're not people anymore. And at that point, you should not be trying to model your life after theirs. But that's the whole purpose of social media. I'll get more into that later. But like Ballerina Farms, you can't make a video like this and not talk about it. She is a huge prime example. Like, it is so far to the point where when people talk about Ballerina Farms, they say Ballerina Farm. Like, they don't even say her name most of the time. Like, what even is her name? You have to go onto it and try to find it. It's Hannah, I think. But it's like, she is so far removed from being the person, and she is just her brand. Like, literally everything about her is, every post is just to sell something or to create this ideal. And then another toxic thing that goes into it is the fact that they have this effortless perfection, right? But then a lot of times, all of these tradwives, they don't bother to share why they have what they have. And I'm not trying to say like, oh, everybody needs to disclose how much money they make or whatever. But it's like, Ballerina Farm comes from a JetBlue family. Like, they have all of the money in the world that they need. And it's great that they're choosing to, you know, have a hobby farm and have kids and raise them in a more industrious way or whatever. Like, I'm not trying to bash that, but what I am trying to say is there's no disclosure of the fact that she has no hard stakes. Real farmers, they are living like paycheck to paycheck. They have a hard time putting food on their tables a lot of the times. Like, they have very high stakes and everything that they do is intentional. They're, you know, it's like they're living a completely different lifestyle to what Ballerina Farms is holding up as the ideal homesteader farm life. That's not real. She's never had to do any of the stuff that she does with the stress of, I need to be able to afford groceries this week for my family, or how am I going to pay the mortgage on our house? Like, there's a big difference that goes into how you can live your life if you do or do not have that stress hanging over you. And I don't want to bring a whole bunch of like individual there are a lot of tradwives out there, and I don't want to like put a whole bunch of people under microscopes, but I'm kind of allowing myself to pull up some of the bigger examples. So another one that I have personally followed for a long time and I have a lot of thoughts on is Sarah Therese. It's funny because she's not even like the flowery dress type. She has this kind of other persona of like being super mom. So a tiny bit about her. She has 5 kids. She's not even quite 30. She lives in a very evangelical, fundamentalist town. But she holds up this ideal, this perfection, super mom. Clara, why do you need to sit on the table, baby? Do you have some thoughts to share? Anyway, she holds up this ideal when it's not achievable by a lot of people because they are not in her situation. So her husband stays home full time. So, like, yes, a lot of people can have a perfectly tidy home and make 5 batches of sourdough every day if they have an extra set of hands with them 24/7. And she homeschools, but she also has a bunch of family nearby, and she has like a big community that she can rely on. And again, a lot of people don't have that. Like, most people move away from home. They don't have any support. They don't have any family nearby. They're starting from scratch. They moved there for a job, so their husband like has to work 40 hours a week. It's just not attainable by so many women. And yet she is purposely putting this idea out there like, oh, you should follow me and try to be even a fraction of the supermom that I am. And I have seen so many women talking about how they spiraled after they had their babies because they were going into deep postpartum depression because they were trying to be anything like Sarah Therese, and they were looking around like, why is my house a mess? Why am I not able to cook 3 meals from scratch every single day? Like, why aren't my kids perfectly quiet all the time? And it's like, that's not the reality of Sarah Therese. First of all, none of that is real. Second of all, she has a husband that is with her. Anyways. And then the last piece that I need to talk about, because you can't when you're talking about tradwives, is the whole religion piece. It was really frustrating to me, and again, bringing this back all the way to the beginning, how I posted that on my Instagram saying how I am a homemaker and a stay-at-home mom, but I'm not Christian, so I feel like the only one. And this is true. Like, anytime I go around locally and I'm trying to find other like stay-at-home moms, because I want to build a community of people that I have access to, but a lot of stay-at-home moms are so busy. I feel bad trying to ask for their time because they're working 40 hours a week, and then the few hours that they have to themselves, they are giving it 110% to their kids. So I don't feel like it's my place to be like, hey, come hang out with me, you know? And so I'm really searching for stay-at-home moms that just have an abundance of time and just want somebody to hang out with, you know? But I literally feel like the only one in my area. Like, all of the moms, at least here in Vancouver, they kind of have to be working to make enough money to live the lifestyle that they're living. And a lot of them don't see it as financially viable to stay at home. Again, so like on Instagram, the people that I'm searching for are stay-at-home moms and homemakers, and I follow them because I want to hear about how they're cooking their food, or the meals that they're having that week, or how they're cleaning their homes, or like what products they're using and they really like. Like, I'm searching for that as well, but it gets really frustrating and annoying because I think I find somebody and I'm like, oh great, I love their aesthetic, they're motivating me to do whatever, and then every third post all of a sudden they're trying to cram Jesus down my throat, and I hate it. Like, I grew up Mormon, I was very religious for a long time, Christianity was the foundation of my life, like I did the whole thing for a long time, and then I got out of it and I wanted nothing to do with it but to follow people that they feel it's their calling to share this message with me. Like, I don't want it. And it's unfortunate, but Christians kind of have the stigma around them that they pass a lot of judgment and they push their religion on everybody, and because it's for the most part true. And like, I don't have a problem with anybody living any sort of religion at all. I just don't want to hear about it all of the time. But tradwives, they use it as some sort of, I don't know, like banner, like, look at me, look how righteous and holy I am. And it just reeks of self-righteousness, and it also always comes off as very judgmental. Like, I know that a lot of them, again, they live these unrealistic lives, and then they come at you and say like, why aren't you trying harder, basically. And just a lot of the language that they use is very damaging as well. Like the whole thing with serving your husband. Yes, a healthy relationship is built on serving each other and loving each other, but the way that Christians talk about serve is not the same. It's not a reciprocal thing. It's like the classic gender role of, I'm going to cook and make the home for you and watch the children and wash the children and do all of that because you go to 40 hours a week of a job. And it's like, that's not an equal trade-off. We have children with the idea that we are going to co-parent. Nobody is having kids thinking, oh, I'm going to raise all 5 of these kids by myself. Nobody wants that. And then, I mean, I've personally seen some pretty damaging stuff from some of them that are like, if I'm ever feeling angry towards my husband, I take a step back and I dive into my scriptures and prayer, and I find it within my heart that I am wrong, and then I take it a step further to serve him more, because that's the answer. If I just serve him more, I will love him more. And I'm like, I can't. Another thought that I've had is about how like Mormons are obsessed with perfection. It's gotten to the point where leaders of the church have come out and had talks about how perfection is not what we're striving for, but yet there is this very toxic underlying current to the Mormon, especially the Utah Mormon culture, that is all about perfection and looking a certain way. It's very stereotypical, it's very damaging, and it's unachievable. And yet if anybody gets close to being able to achieve that, then they flaunt it, which makes everybody else want to do it. It's just, I have so much to say about this, but it's like plastic surgery is acceptable, but tattoos are not. Like, it's very much being a part of the in crowd, and you have to follow everything implicitly and overtly to be able to win the points. I don't know. So, like, Ballerina Farms, I feel like, is one of the biggest examples of tradwives, and she is Mormon. Their whole family is Mormon. They're raised religiously. Big part of that, I think, is the whole thing with, again, the perfection, the ideal perfection, the effortless perfection. Her basically selling that idea. But it's just really fascinating because of just how toxic it is, but so many people fall into the trap of it all, and they get to the point where they start defending these people, criticizing the people that are trying to have a conversation about this and trying to talk about how damaging it is and how unrealistic and unideal. But you have these people that believe that what they're doing is perfectly acceptable, and it's not. you don't have 8 million followers and be making this much money from people's insecurities. I just feel like there's something ethically wrong with that. Like I said, I always get to the end of these videos and wish I had said so many things differently, and then give me 10 minutes and I'll have 3 other thoughts that I will have wished that I had shared. But as per usual, this is turning to chaos, and I think I've said all my big thoughts. So feel free to have a conversation down below about this, whether you're team tradwife or not. Yeah, I would love to hear more from you. What? Are you ready for a nap? Yeah, thanks for being here, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.